All right, Panther fans. So it's time for this week's edition of Ask Jaws. Now, this is the weekly show where you can ask me questions or make smart-ass comments or ask smart-ass questions. And I will do my best to give you some sort of answer that makes sense. Now, before we get started, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you will get notified when we have guests like Randy Moeller and Bill Lindsay and George Richards on. There is more to come. Speaking of the more to come, if you guys have any questions you would like Stu and I to ask our guests, feel free to let me know in the comments. And if it's appropriate, we'll ask the question. All right, so let's get right into it here. We've got a few questions this week. Not an overwhelming, but it's good enough. The questions we have are difficult to answer. So here we go. Tyler has a few questions. The first one he wants to know is who's more replaceable, Barkov or Huberdeau? And also, is Bennett replaceable for the money? For the money that Bennett is getting, I don't think he's replaceable in the sense of he fits with Huberdeau so perfectly. So to answer the question, who's more replaceable, Barkov or Huberdeau, you'd have to go with Huberdeau. Which is an interesting answer because Huberdeau is pretty much my favorite player on the team. But in terms of what they bring, I would have to say Huberdeau would be easier to replace, but that doesn't mean he would be easy to replace. He'd be ridiculously difficult to replace. All right, now the second question from Tyler is, if I was to ever trade these players, well, I wouldn't trade them. It's just full stop. What would the return have to be? Bennett, Barkov, Huberdeau, and Ekblad. I'm not even picking up. Let them leave a voicemail, okay? They can leave a voicemail, and unless it involves two number one picks, I'm just deleting the message. We'll just start there. And there'd really be no circumstances where I would trade any of those guys unless somebody was going to absolutely blow our minds for a deal for Bennett. And we also at that point knew that Lundell was the real deal, and was like Barkov light and was ready to take over at 2C. Now, before I get to the rest of Tyler's questions, we have something here from Jeff. And I'm not going to read this, so you guys can read this. The answer to your question, Jeff, it's interesting that this comes today because about 4 hours ago, I got my electric bill. My electric bill this month was $584. So the answer to your question is clearly air conditioning. Now, why is my electric bill $584? Well, one of the bigger reasons is that I've remade this room into my room where I can do videos. This is the hottest room in the house. So I have been leaving a window unit on 24/7 so that at any point I want to come in here and make a video, the room is nice and cool because Fluffy lays here and he's laying here with me now, and you might hear him start to snore. So I clearly would pick air conditioning over just about anything else. We'll just leave it at that. All right, Tyler's next question is a little bit easier to answer. Prediction points for the following players: Barkov, Huberdeau, Bennett, Ekblad. What I'm going to say is one of those top three is going to get more than 100 points this year. I have a feeling, I know that this might sound crazy, but I have a feeling that somehow Bennett or Huberdeau, and maybe Barkov now that we got Reinhardt, I have a feeling one of those guys is going to get 100 points. Everybody's getting over 80. All of them, well, not Ekblad. The top three are definitely going to be averaging more than a point a game. Ekblad, I see him coming in at maybe 40 points, video surfaced today of him coming out on the ice. Looks exactly as he should look right now. He's a little bit hesitant in making the cuts and making, wide circles, and he's taking it easy. You can definitely tell, but it's still July. So Looks good. It looks like he's on pace for a good solid return. You cannot duplicate in practice the cuts and the speed and the intensity that you're going to need to play defense. So don't be surprised if the first 10, 20 games of the season, he's Aaron Ekblad light, where he's, 85, 90%, which is still fine. He's going to have to play himself into shape. But I still think maybe 40, 50 points, 10, 15 goals, and the rest in assists. Last one from Tyler. Why do I not watch Major Junior a lot? Well, I thought I talked about this on the podcast, or on a podcast, on the live stream. I just don't have the time. Right? I barely have time right now to keep up on football. So I'm having to consider what I'm going to be doing for football as it is on the channel. But in terms of watching the juniors, I just don't have the time, bro. I run an eBay business, so because I still have to pay my bills. At some point, if things continue to grow the way they are now, probably by this time next year, I will be at a point where I no longer have to put new stuff on eBay, because this will be close to paying the bills, or at least between eBay and this, I'll be able to not do more eBay work. But you can hear Fluffy starting to snore now. Yeah, I just don't have the time. It's just clear as that. My mornings are taken up with the dogs and my eBay work, and then in the afternoon I start making videos. And by 5, 6 o'clock, I still got kids. You know what I mean? I'm going to be 50 in August, but Kyle is going to be 22. Matthias is going to be 17. But as you guys know, they're both autistic. So it's not a normal situation, the usual situation, right, where the kids go off and they don't want anything to do with you. They're home, they want to engage, and that's a good thing. All right, Panther. Robin got a little confused. I said I'm moving the video to Friday, and he thought I meant I was moving and the video was Friday. No, I'm not moving, all right? I am, like I said on Twitter, I am contractually obligated to this house until the day after Fluffy decides to no longer be with us. And after that, no promises. You'll probably see me disappear off the face of the earth for about 2 weeks to a month. Now, the question he had is, am I going to stop ranting just because the Panthers are going to play better? Hashtag the rant must go on. Perfect question, Robin. I guess, and I gave this some thought, I guess we're going to have to get creative with the reasons to rant. So here are a couple examples.
Yes, I know we won the game 5-1. Big whoop-de-doo. Look, first of all, a freaking Coke is $5 now. The parking's not even free. They didn't wear the third jersey, and on top of it, I don't even get a paper ticket for my kid's scrapbook. I see how it is. I see how it is, Panthers. All right? Tippett scored in 3 games straight. All right? You got a 3-0. Barkov, Huberdeau, and Tippett coming down the wing. What happens? Barkov passes to Huberdeau. Huberdeau gets another goal and leaves Tippett completely out of the play. Doesn't even allow him to have like a ticky-tack assist. Just nothing for the kid just because I like him.
That's probably the best I'm going to be able to do. It's probably not going to be a whole lot to complain about. And even when we do lose a game, it's probably going to come after we've just had, a 5-game point streak, or we've won 6 in a row and we finally lose a game. And I can't go ranting about that. Now, if we get to a point where we're not playing the way we should, I will rant. If somebody can bring something to my attention that's worthy of a rant, like an individual play, you'll get a rant. But I got to admit, making the videos when we win is a little bit easier. But at the same point, when there's nothing to complain about, there's nothing to complain about.
All right, so I went to edit the video and I realized there was one question I forgot, so let's get it in. This question is from Craig. He wants to know basically if there's one Dolphin game that I would travel from my home to go to this year, which one would it be? I really wish you would not have asked this question, and here's why. Because I've had somebody offer to pay for my flight so I could come down for the Panthers opening day. Not sure I'm going to do it. There's a lot of things going on. It's a maybe. But the point is that opening day is the 12th. So I thought if I left October 10th, they'd give me a day to rest on the 11th, go to the game on the 12th, leave on the 13th. And then I go looking at the Dolphins schedule, and the game that I would pick, I said, this is not good. October 10th is Miami at Tampa, and that would be the day I would need to travel to get to the... So now my brain is all full of, well, if I left on the 9th and went to the Dolphin game on the 10th, and then rested on the 11th and went to the hockey game on the 12th, and then came home on the 13th, can I be gone that long? Could I pull it off? I need a go. So the answer to the question is, if I was to go to a game, that would be the game. But I have no idea how I would pull that off. But stay tuned.
All right, John Greengrass wants to know, should I buy a Spencer Knight reverse retro jersey? That's a mouthful. A Spencer Knight reverse retro jersey, or get tickets for the Panthers game in Pittsburgh in November. I'd go with the jersey. Man. I know going to a game is it's an experience. There's no doubt about that. But if I only had the one shot, and I only had the one shot with the money, so to speak, I would buy the jersey, because that's going to last you longer than the one game. And maybe some people might disagree with me on that one, but that would be my call. But I never get a chance to go to the games anyway. So, I'm used to not going. All right, Nerful wants to start a whole load of Get Jaws in Trouble. Who is my favorite fan, and why is it me? And of course, Karen comes in and says, wait, what? Everybody knows it's me. Interesting. There's really no correct answer here that I can give. But what I will say is I tend to gravitate towards guys that can hook me up with people like George Richards, Randy Moeller, and Bill Lindsay. So if any of you know Wayne Gretzky, Dan Marino, Tua, you see what I'm saying? I can easily be bought. That said, I know right now Karen is saying that she has sent me stuff, and she has. I can hear you now. Yeah, I've had a lot of people send me things, and I really appreciate that. In fact, that Luongo banner was either sent, it could have been sent by Ray, could have been sent by Chris, could have been sent by Dana, could have been sent by, who did I leave out? Karen. I didn't leave you out. There's a few things here that have been sent. Obviously, I believe that this was Ray that got this signed for me. It was either Ray or Chris, or it could have been Dana. I know, I apologize for not remembering, but I know that people have sent me things, and I appreciate that. Who is my favorite Panther fan? Fluffy. Fluffy is my favorite Panther fan. True story. I'm going to tell you a story here. And I know right now one bad Steve is going, oh, geez, here we go with the stories. By the way, the link is in the description for the mug. I think it's like $15. It's got this logo on this side and the very rare unseen Fluffy on his back with the stick in his mouth logo on the other side. He's got the stick? Yeah, he's got the stick. All right. My daughter had those done for me a few years ago. All right, so the true story about why Fluffy is my favorite Panther fan. When he was a puppy and up until about the second, so he got too big at about year 2.5, when he filled out. Every hockey game, and I mean every hockey game, I don't know how he knew. I do not know. All I know is every single game I'd be watching my recliner, and at the start of the second period, he would get in to the recliner with me, curl up with me, and I'd rub him, and I'd say, we need Fluffy luck, we need Fluffy luck. And we'd have these great second periods sometimes. And then with about 2-3 minutes left in the period, he would get up and he'd go on, and we'd watch the rest of the game like we normally would. But for the solid first 2 years of his life, every second period, I don't know how he knew that's when it was, but he was in my lap in the recliner. So Fluffy, who was snoring, is my favorite Panther fan. All right. Let's go on to some comments from the YouTube channel. Tim Black's got a good question. He's got actually two good questions here. First one is, who is going to get the 3C spot? We all know Q has a lack of trust in young players. I don't want to have a Charlie on 3C. He's the perfect 4C. Lundell. Right now, I believe everybody, and including when we've talked to George wasn't so sure on it, but Randy and Billy both felt like Lundell was going to slot into that 3C. I believe that if Lundell is not ready, you will see Hornquist slot in there. That is my guess. That doesn't mean it's a guarantee, but I think that if Lundell is not ready or struggles at all, you might see Hornquist get some time there. All right, Tim's second question, and this is a little bit of a bigger one. Do you think Bob's play is as bad as people say, or more to do with the system of defense we play? I know people will compare Drieger's stats and say, look, he's got better stats in the same system, but never take into consideration how the other team attacks each goalie differently. How many goals did Bob give up from outside shots that were screens or deflected? If you look at the heat maps, Bob faced way more of those types of shots than Drieger. Yes, he faced more of those shots because he's out of position so often that the opposing team knows you can get goals against them. The difference between these two guys is not about better or worse. Drieger's style, he is a stay-at-home goalie, okay? Watch his positioning, all right? When there is a guy that could possibly be shooting from the blue line, he is square to the shooter. There's no room there. With Bob, he's playing angles a little bit differently, and even if it's just 6 inches more over here, even if it's just 3 inches more towards the middle of the net rather than being square, it's a huge difference. So I think that the point is that it's not about whether it's bad play or good play. I think for the style of defense that we play, Drieger was more suited, okay, to the style of defense that we play, and basically because he doesn't move around as much. And for Bobrovsky, I still have to make this video. It got really, really busy with free agency and everything, the expansion draft. I'm going back this week. I'm going to do it this upcoming week. And I'm looking at the film of how Bobrovsky used to move versus how he's moving now. And so far, my opinion, what I've seen, and no, I'm not manipulating the film, although that would be funny. So far, what I'm seeing is that he's not moving quite as fast as he used to. It's not a huge difference, but it is noticeable in certain sequences. So the point is that if you're a goaltender who relies on quickness and movement, and you lose even 1/8 of a step, there's going to be a difference. So I think what's happened with Bob is that he needs to readjust his game to maybe not move around as much as he's been. I think what he should do is study how Drieger played and why Drieger wasn't allowing those goals where Bob was, and look at the positioning that Drieger had, because the defense is the defense, and Bob needs to play to the defense that we have. So that's how I would answer that. All right, Tons Anthony, we have a couple questions or comments here that are a little bit late, but that's my fault. So obviously, Stepping on My Nuts said, did you ever see the Arizona's in talks with Strawman? And then obviously there, that's where Strawman ended up going. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because, the next question is from Tons Anthony, where he said he has a question for the live stream. He missed it. He wanted to know what my thoughts were about for Toronto and a prospect for Giordano, with Seattle eating half the contract. So Strawman goes, and that contract is gone, so that's a good thing. And then with the question about Giordano, no. Right now, I've said I was surprised that Montour was the move. What must have happened is we must have inquired about plenty of people, I'm sure, and the prices were too high. Look, Wenberg got $4.5 million. I'm not quite sure about that deal. So Seattle's throwing around some money. And we all saw what Seth Jones got, which was just, that'll make you blind if you look at that deal too hard. So I think even though there's this flat cap, teams were throwing around just a little bit too much money for our position. And when we already had Montour just sitting there, could we have maybe picked up a better defenseman? Okay, yes. Now, that said, we go into this season with basically the top 5 set, and who knows who 60 is going to be. We've got Kirsten, we've got Nanavara, we've got Juleson, we've got Larson, we've got Connaughton. I know there's people I'm leaving off of that list. So we've got a ton of young defensemen. Any one of them could turn into the next Forsling, and then we don't need anybody else. Now, if we get to the deadline, if we're approaching the deadline and we still have a hard need for a legit top 4 defenseman, I have no question in my mind that Bill Zito will go get us one, and he won't have to pay very much for it. You know what I mean? So I think it's a tiny roll of the dice to see if Montour can become what we need him to be. Offensively, I love his skill set. What's the defense he's going to bring? It wasn't impressive during the playoffs. Let's see what happens when the captain of the defense in Aaron Ekblad is back and we don't have everybody out of place and mismatched and having responsibilities that they're really not used to. All right. Last question. One bad Steve. Now, this came from a conversation because he's always making fun of me for needing my glasses, which, as you can tell, I don't right now because I'm far enough away from the laptop. But Steve has decided that I need blue light glasses or it blocks the blue light. What's he saying? You could get some blue light glasses or some shit, Jaws. It blocks the blue light or some crap. He's got crap on his mind here. And it makes it easier on your eyes for when you're looking at electrical devices. Also, I was born in 1993, so you actually are a millennial, which makes it interesting because you keep calling me boomer when I'm not a boomer. And yet, here I am being gentle and nice and not making fun of you for being a millennial when you call yourself out. Now, just to make Steve happy, I'm going to put my glasses on. You see, and it makes it worse. From this distance, it makes it worse, right? I have to get like way, way close. See, that makes it better. That makes it worse. And then my eyes are working just fine. The point is that all my glasses are blue light, okay? Like I said in the previous question, I'm still running an eBay business. So when I'm not hanging with the dogs in the morning, I'm packing and shipping and printing labels and looking at the screen, looking at the screen and looking at the screen. I probably get an easy 10, 12 hours a day of screen time, if that's it, because everything I do is on a computer. So my eyes are going to get tired no matter what. But having a good day today, or I don't need the glasses. So how's that for an answer for you, millennial? Oh, I can't believe you called yourself out. Bro, I was trying to take it easy on you, man, and now you just go and call yourself out. You were born in 1993, and I was married in 1994, and I was already 23. So, yeah, you're young, and I'm not. All right, that was it for this week. I appreciate all the questions. I appreciate all the support. I hope you guys are enjoying all of the guests that we are getting, and we have more to come. I'm not sure if the next ones are going to be next week or not, but there is more coming. I do have one coming up. I do have a special fan guest coming up at some point next week. So you guys will enjoy that. Other than that, Fluffy is awake. I'm going to leave that air conditioning off. $584. It's not cool. The highest one I've had in this house was just a little bit over 500. I knew this one was going to be bad, but geez, that was a kick in the nuts. 4 days before my 50th birthday, it's a $600 electric bill. So if you need the address to send donations, it's in the link. The link to my PayPal is in the description, and I'll end the video like that. I'll see you again later.